Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Jagjit Singh. Today I would like to talk about COPD. COPD stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Now this disease is caused by 329 million people or 4.3% of the global population. COPD is known by different names all over the world. For example, it is known as smoker's lung by some people, and different class of thoughts have described COPD pathogenesis in different ways. COPD is a combination of chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Chronic bronchitis means if there is a chronic cough for at least 3 months, for 1 year, for a period of 2 years, then it is diagnosed as chronic bronchitis without any other explanation. Emphysema is a term that in Greek means to inflate. Now this condition on chest x-ray we can see it as bullous emphysema. So in COPD there is air filled inside the lungs, and that is because of damage or destruction of the septa between the alveoli, and this has resulted in a transformation where huge air cavities are formed within the lungs. The size of the heart is reduced. Morgagni in 1729 described it as emphysema, and it is from 17th century this disease is still existing. It is highly treatable condition. There are risk factors that are very commonly associated with this condition. For example, persons who smoke, who are chain smokers, who smoke daily many packs of cigarettes or more than 3 packs of cigarette per day, they can have this condition. People who are above 40 years of age, 32 to 200 people in people of 1000 population have this condition. Not only tobacco smoke can result in chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, but there are other types of agents such as air pollutants, and genetics has also played a very important role in chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. In patients who have alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, when there is an alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency where antitrypsin is deficient, that can lead to increased level of proteases, and those proteases are damaging the alveoli. They are damaging the connective tissue septa between the alveoli, and that is leading to formation of large cavities, and those large cavities where air is trapped inside the lungs. So this condition is an hereditary condition, and it is also an acquired condition where we can see a centrilobular emphysema from smoking. Now patients normally have a chronic cough, and that cough can produce a rib fracture. So if they are coughing for persistent period of time in patients with COPD, they can have rib fractures also. Sputum can be seen in late stages of COPD. Bonnet in 16th century described it as emphysema. So there are many physicians who have described emphysema in different ways. One of the physician has written emphysema in his book, a treatise on his book. And René Laennec, who invented stethoscope, was responsible for describing emphysema in his book. I would like to also say that there were different drawings of emphysema by a physician called Rouge, and Rouge was very successful in describing the emphysema condition. In 1808, the term chronic COPD, in 1808, the term chronic bronchitis was adopted by physicians and scientists to describe it as type B condition. So chronic bronchitis, in some people with COPD, they have chronic bronchitis, and in some people without chronic bronchitis, they have emphysema. So it is described as blue bloaters and pink puffers. Blue bloaters mean that there will be cyanosis of the skin and nails. There will be shortness of breath. And pink puffer means that they will pursue air through their lips, that is pursing of lips for respiratory effort to breathe more air. And this pink puffers, they have a pink complexion of skin. So pink puffers are emphysematous and blue bloaters have chronic bronchitis. In 1814, Badham described excess mucus and cough as catarrh. Catarrh means it is a type of inflammation. In 1814, Charles Badham described it as chronic cough and mucus as catarrh. And this chronic cough and mucus we can see inside the bronchus. And that is causing an obstruction of the airway and it is decreasing the airflow to the lungs. Hutchinson, one of the physician and scientist, he invented spirometer and it measures different lung volumes, and he has also measured certain lung capacities of the lung. Now apart from tobacco smoke, people who work in different occupations, for example, people working in coal mines, people working in gold mines, people working in cotton textile industry, they have a increased propensity to smoke, and that smoke can also cause COPD in them. So COPD in 75% cases it is from smoking, and in 25% cases it can be seen in non-smokers. For example, people who are working in different occupations, people who smoke water pipes, people who smoke cigar, people who smoke marijuana, they can also be affected by COPD. Now differential diagnosis of COPD. COPD is differentially diagnosed, and this differential diagnosis based on symptoms. In bronchial asthma we can see wheezing, and in COPD cases also we can see wheezing. So we have to differentiate the wheezing of bronchial asthma from the wheezing of COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It is also differentiated from bronchopulmonary dysplasia, obliterative bronchiolitis, pneumothorax, pneumonia, mycobacterium tuberculosis, pulmonary embolism, etc. Now the diagnosis of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or obstructive airway disease, it is based on FEV1 volume, that is forced expiratory volume in 1 second. Now what is forced expiratory volume? Forced expiratory volume is the maximum volume of air that is expired in first second. And if it is below 80%, it is referred to as mild COPD. If it is from 79 to 50%, it is moderate COPD. And if it is from 49 to 30%, it is severe COPD. And if it is below 30%, it is very severe COPD. So COPD is diagnosed based on this parameter. On chest X-ray, in a patient with COPD, we can see barrel-shaped chest. Barrel-shaped chest means there is increase in anterior-posterior diameter of the chest. The diaphragm becomes flat and there is hyperinflation of the lungs. So we can clearly see more blackiness on the chest X-ray of this patient. Now in patients with COPD, they can also have worsening of the symptoms, and that is known as exacerbations. So exacerbations in COPD patient can be due to secondary infections, it can be due to improper use of medications, it can be due to poor air quality. In these, the physical activity limitations is seen. There will be increase in heart rate, increase in respiratory rate, there can be a combative behavior. A person will fight to take air in, and different people have described this condition in different ways. Now coming to the assessment of COPD, COPD is assessed based on MRC SOB scale. So it is divided into 5 grades. So grade 1, there can be SOB if there is a strenuous activity. In grade 2, there can be a shortness of breath. SOB means shortness of breath after vigorous walking. In grade 3, there can be SOB after normal walking, and in grade 4 there can be SOB after walking for few minutes, and in grade 5 there can be SOB while changing clothes. So there are 5 grades of SOB, shortness of breath, and these grades show that shortness of breath is in the ascending order. So mild SOB, then moderate SOB, then severe SOB, then very severe SOB. Now the grades of COPD are also divided into mild, moderate, severe and very severe COPDs. There is one more scale which is known as Body scale. So B for body mass index, O for obstruction, D for dyspnea and E for exercise. So body scales can also be used to assess the severity of COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Now how to prevent COPD? COPD is prevented by stopping smoking, by encouraging smoking cessation programs. Anti-smoking organizations must spread awareness about smoking. In addition to this, they also take influenza vaccine per year, and they also take pneumococcal conjugate vaccine for every 5 years. Now these are the initiatives that should be taken to prevent chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. In occupational measures, they must take different role sets. Different role sets means they must work in different areas where dust is minimum. Occupational measures like use of water sprays, respirators, that must be used by the employers and employee while they are working in these types of industries. The policies of the government should incorporate awareness about chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and people who smoke cigarettes, in the cigarette boxes it is written that it is injurious to health. They have to follow those principles to prevent from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or smoker's lung. People who are smoking, who are chain smokers, they have to go through a series of detoxification therapies, and decreased smoking must be combined with behavioral therapy. The patients must be counseled why are they smoking, what stress is responsible for their smoking habits, and they have to interfere with the smoking habits and come out with clear answers. Now, how to manage chronic obstructive pulmonary disease? First, we have to manage risk factors. Second, we have to manage shortness of breath. Third, we have to manage stable COPDs. Fourth, we have to manage exacerbations. And fifth, we have to manage associated illnesses. So the main goal of management is to manage the risk factors, associated illnesses, stable COPD and exacerbation. Now to manage risk factors, that is tobacco smoke, we have to use nicotine replacement therapy. We can use drugs like bupropion, varenicline. So these drugs can be useful in preventing risk factors and also in management of risk factors. Workers who are working in mining industries, in cotton textile industries, in hazardous condition where smoke is a chief pollutant, in those we have to use water sprays and dust control measures must be used. dust must be minimized, and there must be encouragement of pulmonary rehabilitation programs. Pulmonary rehabilitation programs are the places where the patients are counseled about their smoking and different habits, their addictions. So, and here they do undertake physiotherapeutic exercises. So, such type of management is also essential in COPD. This is a lifestyle management. But remember, there is no cure for COPD. We have to manage the symptoms, we have to manage the risk factors, we have to manage the associated illness. Now, coming to the associated illness, which is like if a patient has blood pressure, underlying blood pressure with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, he must take antihypertensive medications regularly at regular intervals. And when he is taking these medications at the right time, he would be prevented from getting high blood pressure, and that will also prevent an extra load on the heart. I would also like to describe that COPD can result into a condition called cor pulmonale. Cor means heart, pulmonale means lung. Now, how cor pulmonale is resulting into right-sided heart failure? So that I have to describe. How cor pulmonale is resulting into this condition, how cor pulmonale is resulting into right-sided failure, I will tell about it. When there is poor ventilation, when there is decreased oxygen flow to the lungs, decreased oxygen flow in the blood, it is resulting into vasoconstriction of the pulmonary arteries, and as a result of it that is resulting into pulmonary hypertension, and pulmonary hypertension is leading to right-sided heart failure. So when we give supplemental oxygen in this patient, we can treat the condition, that is high flow oxygen. When it is given, we can treat this condition. Now, coming to management of stable COPD, we have to use bronchodilators. Bronchodilators are used in management of COPD, and if it is mild to moderate, we are using short-acting beta-2 adrenoceptor agonist plus short-acting muscarinic antagonist. And if it is severe to very severe COPD, we are using long-acting beta-2 adrenoceptor agonist plus long-acting muscarinic antagonist, and these are used based on assessing the severity of COPD. In exacerbations management also, we will use SABA plus SAMA. SABA is short-acting beta-2 adrenoceptor agonist plus short-acting muscarinic antagonist, and these are given via nebulizer, meter dose inhaler with spacer. Now, in management of exacerbations of COPD, we are also using antibiotics. Antibiotics like amoxicillin, erythromycin are given to prevent secondary bacterial infections in this patient. Fluoroquinolones are also recommended as per FDA guidelines. Now, coming to surgery, lung transplantation can be done in people with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and along with that, we can use lung volume reduction surgeries. In lung volume reduction surgeries, the emphysematous portion of the lung would be removed and the good lung will be allowed to expand. And as a result of it, the patient can breathe normally. But suppose if there is a diffuse emphysema, emphysema is present in all lobes of the lung, then we cannot do lung volume reduction surgery, and there is increased incidence of death. So this is about the management of COPD in patients having this condition. It is believed that COPD is a third leading cause of death in 2012, as 3.1 million people were having COPD, and it has become a fourth leading cause of death, which affects 34 to 200 people who are above 65 years of age in 1000 population. Now this is about epidemiology. The prognosis is bad in patients with COPD who are not taking medications at right time, whose competency is reduced. 3% disabilities can be attributable to COPD. Increased indoor air quality. There was improved air quality in patients with COPD in 1990 to 2010, and COPD can be determined by various factors like severe airflow obstruction, frequent exacerbations, SOBs, shortness of breath, and exercise. So these factors, if they become worse, for example, if the severe airflow obstruction becomes worse, SOB becomes worse, exacerbations become worse, then it can lead to exacerbation, and that exacerbation can also lead to death of the patient. So prognosis is bad unless it is monitored and controlled using prevention and management carefully. There is a research going on that there are two types of drugs that can be used if the standard treatment fails. That are roflumilast and cilomilast. These are phosphodiesterase 4 inhibitors, which are basically used in patients with COPD. Now this is all about chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, starting from definition to the research. And I believe those people who are having this condition must watch this video, and they must take the medications at the right time, and if the physician has advised them to administer medications for a fixed period of time, they must take it. Thanks for watching my channel. Please share and subscribe as much as possible.